Ladies and gentlemen, we lost a legend today in Scott Hall, Razor Ramon. A trailblazer of changing the game and making professional wrestling be part of its hottest peak in the 90s. Now, I'll admit it, I was 2 years old when he made his debut. Don't know anything about that. I saw Scott Hall for the first time in WCW. And around the time the first match I ever watched in professional wrestling was Goldberg versus Hulk Hogan for the WCW Championship. I saw many things from Scott Hall in that time. Then, of course, I missed out on the entire invasion angle, the entire Scott Hall and Kevin Nash and them coming back to do the NWO thing in WWE, and all that. I missed all that because of where I was living at the time, parents and all that. But saw stuff in TNA, the Kings of Wrestling stuff wasn't really that good. When Hogan and them came back, TNA in 2010, and it was Scott Hall and Kevin Nash doing the band with Sean Maltman, and that wasn't really good. And you could see that the guy wasn't in a good place at that time. And then eventually, of course, he moved in with DDP. He got his life back together, sober, clean, and everything. And eventually entered the Hall of Fame, and a few years later entered the Hall of Fame again with Hogan and Nash. Now, again, like I said, I didn't see him when he was active in WWF and early days of WCW. But when the network came out in 2014, I said, I'm going to make it my mission to see every single episode from 1993 January all the way up until they went until 2003, when I started watching towards the end. My first match, the first Raw I saw of WWE was when Shawn Michaels and Triple H faced each other for the world title, and Shawn Michaels and they both got their arms pinned, or all four arms were on the ground, on the mat and pinned. I watched everything from day one until the week before that because that's everything I missed. And the early days, 1993 to 1996, Scott Hall stood out over almost everybody. The Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, of course, stood out more, but he was on that same level. And he was a guy at that time that I'm like, how did this guy never ascend to be the WWF champion? He could have easily been WWF champion in 93, 94, 95, or, I couldn't say 96 because he was on his way out, but 93, 94, 95, this guy at any time could have been prompted to be WWF champion, but never got to those heights. Multiple time Intercontinental champion, if I'm correct, the first ever 4-time Intercontinental champion. Ladder match against Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 10 was one of the best ladder matches and if you want to compare ladder matches, there's a ladder match, and then there's a match with a ladder in it, and that's what you can say for Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon's ladder match. He just felt like a big deal. Like, he was somebody that people could latch onto and gravitate to. He oozed that charisma that just, even though he was a bad guy for most of his run in the 90s in WWF, people loved to cheer him. He was what made being a heel cool and great. Of course, he was a babyface towards the end of his run, but he was great. His match with the 1-2-3 Kid that made Sean Waltman into a household name is something that will always be something people remember of. It was one of those, if you showed somebody who's never watched WWF and I'm not just saying that match, but you watched everything that Sean Waltman was doing up to that match, and just see that he got beat every single week and looked like a chump every single week. All of a sudden, hits that moonsault and pins Razor Ramon in the middle of the ring, and what led to that, and just out of nowhere, how unpredictable it could be at that time. And then everything with Razor and Shawn and 1-2-3 Kid. After that, Razor winning another match, putting money on the line, all that stuff, making Sean Waltman into a bigger deal than what Sean Waltman would have been if it wasn't for what WWF did for him. Razor was a big part of that. Now, We all know that Razor and Scott had his demons, and they caught up with him, and like he had his thing. Like I think what was it? He accidentally killed somebody when he was younger, and it bothered him for like a good bit of time, and that's what led to his drinking and his drug problems and everything. And you can't just sugarcoat and be like, oh, like trying and paint him as the best guy in the world, and not try and talk about his problems, because he had a lot of them. But he took the time, went to work with DDP, went to his house, went to his, and did his regimen, and got himself better enough to where WWE felt comfortable enough to bring him in for the Hall of Fame, do the WrestleMania spot, where it was at WrestleMania 31, Sting versus Triple H. The NWO comes down to help Sting, which made no sense, and still to this day makes no sense. But seeing him just in such a great, looking so great at that time, his speech, the final line, hard work pays off, dreams come true, hard times, bad times don't last, but bad guys do. That was just absolutely great. And to see just all the people who have been influenced by Scott Hall. Hell, Ethan Page uses the Razor's Edge as one of his finishing moves. Damian Priest used the Razor's Edge in his attack on Finn Balor 2 weeks ago. Just so many things. If you watch people and you watch how everyone goes, you know that this guy was he influenced a lot of people. Now, I want to get to something that happened. Like, when we started the show, I did not hear anything about Scott Hall passing away. I knew he was taken off life support about almost 12 hours ago. And some moments say he was still breathing, he was still fighting for his life, maybe he was going to get better, people wanted him to get better. And I didn't know he fully passed away until right up until WWE started their show tonight, because they had this right here for him. Now, to all the asshole piece of shit motherfuckers out there who whined and complained that WWE didn't do a video package right away. They didn't do the proper tribute at the beginning of the show. They got to it towards the end, around the time of the main event, when they were going to do that. Stop your bitching, quit your whining and complaining. They were going to get to it when they did. I will say, to anybody who does these video packages for WWE, they need a fucking raise. This was beautiful. And the fact that they got this video package done, and I'm sure they didn't just start on it today. He was put on life support yesterday, I think yesterday or Saturday, and all that. So they had a whole couple days to get it ready. But they put together a beautiful video package, and it was great. So I hope everyone gives their thoughts about Scott Hall in the comment section below. I did not get to see live, or when it actually was happening, Scott Hall, Razor Ramon in the WWF. I did in 2014, 22 years later from the day he started to the day. But I could just tell, even if I would have just been watching WWF television, Monday Night Raw, in the 93, 94, 95, and 96 era of the WWF, that Scott Hall, Razor Ramon, was a special dude. And the fact that he was the first ever 4-time Intercontinental Champion, I think he might have won the tag team titles with the 1-2-3 Kid at one time. Just everything he did was just in this era, from 93 when I watched to 96 when he left, was just some of the best stuff on television. You had your Dukes of the Duncster Drovies, your Isaac Yankums, you had your whoever, like all these other occupations, but then you had the bad guy, Razor Ramon. A play on Scarface, obviously, but he stood out over I would say everybody, because The Undertaker stood out, Shawn Michaels stood out, Bret Hart stood out, Diesel eventually stood out when he got there, but Razor Ramon was one of those guys that just stood out, and you knew that he could have, if he was a big fucking deal. He was one of the best, mid-card guys, top guys who top mid-carders who could have been a world champion if given that opportunity and held it, but he never got that far up. But he's going to be missed. I hope everyone shares their thoughts of Scott Hall below in the comments, and I will be back in a minute. So we get to Monday Night Raw here. From Jacksonville, Florida, Duval. The biggest question going in the show was, is this the night that Cody Rhodes makes his WWE return? Is Cody Rhodes going to be coming to the place where AEW was founded, where AEW has called home since day one? Spoiler alert, no. Cody Rhodes was nowhere to be found. However, there were a couple teases after the main events, so we'll get to that when we do. But right away, Kevin Owens comes out, opens the promo with a quick, "Hey yo." So, nice little tribute to Scott Hall there. Says he is the happiest Canadian of all time because he's not just going to WrestleMania 38. He's going to the main event because everybody's going to the main event of WrestleMania. Can we stop with that? Seriously. Can we stop with the, "I'm going to the main event of WrestleMania"? No, you are not. You're going to be one of the midsection portions of night 1 or night 2, whatever night you're on, for WrestleMania. Enough of this. Ronda and Charlotte are going to be in night 1's main event. Night 2 is going to be Roman versus Brock. Nobody else is in the main event of WrestleMania. Can we please stop that? He goes on about how his WrestleMania chances are looking bad, but he had an idea, and the Texan who embodies the rest of Yellow Tooth Texans, and it worked. Fans chant USA, because we really need that. He goes on about being proud of himself. He says we will see the most stupendous WrestleMania ever, and he smears Stone Cold all over Texas. He says he's heard Austin loud and clear when he said he was coming to open one final can of whoop-ass. But that's not happening. He says the only can that will be open is a can of Canadian beer after he finishes Austin off. Owens says he doesn't drink beer, but he will make an exception this time. He goes on and says no one will be saying, "Oh, hell yeah." When he's done with Austin, they'll be saying, "Oh, hell no." And when he's done beating the hell out of Austin, Owens kicks the cameraman, drops him with the stunner, and the booze continues. He makes his exit. Kind of pointless opening segment, but you get the gist of it. And this will not be the last time we see Kevin Owens tonight. U.S. Champion Finn Balor versus Damian Priest. This was a non-title match. It seems like, and I haven't noticed this, but it seems like the championship contenders stipulation has kind of been discontinued. We still get matches like this where it's a champion versus somebody who's going to be challenging for him, but it seems that Vince McMahon has got bored with using the term championship contender, or it's getting used too much. So, Finn Balor's here, Damian Priest, the matches begin with but the music hits and out comes Austin Theory. And a match that's between the U.S. champion and the former U.S. champion now all becomes about Austin Theory versus Pat Mcafee, because we have to see a video package of Pat Mcafee whipping some Austin Theory ass last Friday night, and Austin Theory got exactly what he deserved. So Austin comes to commentary, and he just won't shut the fuck up. There's even a part where Corey Graves allows him to do commentary, which he does get up. Theory runs up as Balor's going to do the coup de grace, distracts him in the apron. Balor and Theory have words. Priest takes advantage and grabs Balor, but Balor drops with the shot to the apron. Then goes to the floor and nails a running dropkick, sending Theory into the barrier. Balor comes to the ring, and Priest hits the reckoning for the pin and the win. And this is how we're going to get to WrestleMania between Finn Balor and Damian Priest. Now I do need to highlight something here, because some dirt sheet person was bored or whatever, decided, oh, did you notice that when Finn Balor got beat down by Damian Priest, he didn't use the reckoning, he used the Razor's Edge. And they speculated, oh, this must mean he's getting rid of he's having to give up his finisher because Cody Rhodes is coming in. And obviously that must not be the case, because he hit the reckoning. And why does that mean something? Because the reckoning is another version of the Crossroads, which doesn't make any sense why you can't have two people use the same finisher when it comes to this, because let's see here. Don't we have like the Usos use super kicks? Seth Rollins uses a super kick. Dolph Ziggler has won a match or two with a super kick. It's like, people can have the same finisher. I mean, you have Ronda Rousey using an armbar, and Becky Lynch using another version of an armbar called the Disarmer. They're both different versions of an armbar. You can have people use the same finisher, you just call it something different. It's not that big of a deal. He stands tall, goes to replay, Prius marches to the back there, he enters the ring, hits the ATL on Ballas, takes his nice little selfie, and that is that. I don't really care. Commander Aziz versus Omos. This was a waste of time. So, what is going to be Omos's path to WrestleMania? Apparently, the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal is supposed to be happening on the go-home show to WrestleMania, which is in, 2 weeks? Yeah, 2 weeks. 2 weeks from now, on Raw or SmackDown, either the 28th or the 1st, it's supposed to be the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal is going to be happening. So, Aziz gets beaten in quick fashion. Get a little bit of big man beef back and forth. Omos slams this guy, yells in and hits the choke bomb. Middle of the ring, 1, 2, 3, and Double Kato is buried. AKA Commander Aziz is buried. So any intrigue about these two having a face-off inside a Battle Royal, that is out the window. He goes and grabs Apollo Crews, brings him in, and chokes bombs him too. And that is that. So, I'm not impressed. I am not impressed with this dude whatsoever. What is supposed to be impressive about Omos? There's not a damn thing that's impressive about this dude. He wins. We move on. Clearly, they're going to have him win the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, which has done nothing for Cesaro, Big Show, Baron Corbin, Matt Hardy. I gotta get this list here. Give me a second. Okay, so there have been 7 winners of the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Cesaro, Big Show, Baron Corbin, Mojo Rawley, Matt Hardy, Braun Strowman, Jey Uso. Let's see. Cesaro, no longer with WWE. Big Show, no longer with WWE. Baron Corbin, on SmackDown as a waste of talent. Mojo Rawley, no longer with WWE. Matt Hardy, no longer with WWE. Braun Strowman, no longer with WWE. Jey Uso, right-hand man to Roman Reigns. Out of everybody on this thing, Jey Uso is literally the only one who benefited from the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal because he's Roman's cousin. Everyone else but Jey and Baron Corbin don't work for WWE anymore. So, having Omos adding his name on this show, winning this match, does absolutely nothing for him whatsoever. Kevin Owens approaches Seth Rollins backstage. Owens understands things are tough, but tough times don't last. Tough guys do, you know. There's another call out to Scott Hall. Owens says Rollins can still go to WrestleMania if he just focuses his energy elsewhere and comes up with something like he did. He says Rollins is the visionary, so he needs to come up with a vision. He brings up how some of WrestleMania moments and keeps hyping him up, telling him to build something for himself at WrestleMania so that he can have a... Suddenly, Seth Rollins has an epiphany. And he's like, and he walks to the ring. He's got an idea. He rushes off. Well, Owens seems to be happy about this, coming up with something. Liv Morgan versus Women's Tag Team Champion Queen Zelina Vega. Basically, this match has happened because last week the Tag Team Champions got beat by Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, adding them to the Tag Team title match at WrestleMania because Carmella is getting a little too friendly with her man. So, Liv Morgan, Zelina have a match. It's not that good of a match. Carmella gets involved. Vega isn't able to take advantage. Rhea Ripley chases her off into the arms of her man, causing Zelina Vega to be distracted. Liv Morgan hits the Oblivion. 1, 2, 3. That is that, and Liv Morgan wins. As Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley celebrate, Zelina Vega is looking at her partner, seething, pissed off. You know they're losing the tag team titles at WrestleMania. And Zelina Vega is going to turn on Carmella. And Carmella's probably going to be a babyface again. Whatever, I don't care. Seth Rollins comes out while the women are still in the ring. They all leave. He's dancing. He's smiling. He's being his good old-fashioned self. We get the video package as we come back from commercial break of what happened at the Garden 2 Saturdays ago, because WWE is going to milk the shit out of that until the match. We'll probably see that video package on Raw and SmackDown until we get to WrestleMania every single week. So, Seth Rollins is in the ring. He says he has a plan, but he wants his best friend to be out here and he wants to share the excitement with Owens. He calls Owens to the ring. Out comes Kevin Owens. He's all happy. He's like, man, I want to hear what you got to say. Rollins brings up how Owens hosting the KO show with Hall of Famer Steve Austin. He asks if Rollins also has a talk show like Freakin' Speaking with Seth Rollins, so he can bring back the Rollins report with his guest, if his guest was Austin. Owens immediately has the look of, seriously, dude? This is what you came up with? You're this visionary, you're the architect, you're the guy who always has a plan, and this is what you came up with. Just has that look of disappointment, like, what the fuck? Owens says no way, Austin is the guest. He talks how show WrestleMania and Rollins can't. Owens is fully behind Rollins having a plan for WrestleMania, but this isn't it. Rollins agrees that there could only be one talk show at WrestleMania, so he proposes they have a match. And the winner gets to have Austin as their talk show guest at WrestleMania. Owens says no, he had the idea first. He's already pissed Austin off, and Austin's coming for him. They start arguing now. Sonya Deville comes out stage, which is the first time I think we've seen her in this position in about a month. She admits she kind of likes the idea. She says tonight's main event will be Owens versus Rollins, and if Rollins wins, he will replace Owens at WrestleMania. Owens is pissed off, but Rollins is loving the idea. He exits the ring, his music hits while Owens is in the ring. So let me get this straight. You decide that the best course of action to get people to think that Kevin Owens is not, and that you want to get Seth Rollins on the WrestleMania card, is to have a match with the stipulation the winner goes to WrestleMania to have a talk show with Stone Cold Steve Austin. As if anybody thought that Kevin Owens had a chance of losing this match. Did a 10-year-old write this? No, 10-year-olds have more creativity than this shit. All you had to do is have Seth Rollins come out and was like, I'm gonna issue an open challenge at WrestleMania, and I'm gonna go out there in AT&T Stadium, AT&T Stadium. I'm gonna walk the ring. I'm gonna issue an open challenge, and I'm gonna issue an open challenge to anybody not under WWE contract to come out there and have a match with me at WrestleMania, and that's where you get Cody versus Seth Rollins if that's the plan. Or Seth Rollins versus literally anybody you could have gotten. But this is what you went with. As if anybody expected Seth Rollins to win tonight's main event. What everyone expected was the return of Cody Rhodes. Guess what, motherfuckers? You didn't get what you wanted, and I fucking love it. You love it too, and you're going to love it. Recent happens between Mysterios and Logan Paul and them. Who really gives a shit? Mysterios versus the Hurt Business again. Who cares? Who cares? So, they have the match. Of course, we had Logan Paul on commentary along with The Miz, and Logan Paul sounded so out of his element. This guy didn't know what the fuck to say. He sounded like a deer in the headlights. Mysterios win after the match. Paul and Miz come out. They were out commentary. They come to the ring. They drop Dominic, I believe it is. They fight them off, sending Miz to the floor. Logan is surrounded and tries to fight back, but they drop him in the position for 619. They go for the double 619, but Miz pulls him to safety. Fans boo on Paul and Miz as they retreat the ramp. And I don't give a shit. After break, the announcer shows the video package of Queen Shamel Hall of Fame induction. Okay. Could they not get anybody? Is there no other women to induct into the Hall of Fame? What did Booker T have to do to get his wife inducted in the Hall of Fame? Because quite honestly, she didn't do much. Yeah, she stood around for a while and said, "Oh, hail King Booker!" That's all she did for about, a year? That's about all she did. And she's going to the Hall of Fame. Okay, then. I guess we're just inducting wrestlers' wives now. I guess Kim Orton's going to go next, and whatever Kurt Angle's wife's name is next after that. Okay, then. Edge comes out to a new theme from Alter Bridge, which I think it was Over the Limit or something like that. Which, honestly, if you go into this heel gimmick, You Think You Know Me, his old theme just wouldn't have worked anymore, I don't think. I think he needed to change it up with the blue lighting and everything. It's one theme song change that I actually have no problem with. Ed said, let's bring up to everyone up to speed. He is the benchmark of WWE. He realized over the past few weeks he is what he really is. He is better than everyone. It's a given. He's better than all the fans. He's better than every person in this industry. It's taken him some time returning 2 years ago to show this because the Edge, who returned to please all of you, was weak. As he was focused on appeasing the fans, he says he now realized the fans don't matter to him. He recalls some of his losses, including the feud with Raw Tag Team Champion Randy Orton, Seth Rollins, and the title shot for the Universal Champion Roman Reigns. He calls the Aquaman cosplayer who can't lace his boots. I get it. He says if that Edge faced AJ Styles at WrestleMania, AJ would leave him in the dust, but that Edge is dead, baby. He says Edge now sits on his mountain of omnipotence, and he looks down on everyone. He won't be judged by the fans, anyone in the locker room, and certainly not by AJ Styles. A "You Suck" chant breaks out. Edge goes on and says if AJ makes it to WrestleMania with two generational talents in this ring, he will be judged. Edge drops the mic, exits the ring as his new music starts up. This was pretty good. I'm liking the evil, sinister Edge. This is good Edge. This is the best Edge you will ever see. And I have no problem with this. We see Bianca Belair whip champion Becky Lynch with her hair. 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, Sarah Stroud was backstage with Belair, asking how Becky is saying Belair's hair is an advantage going into WrestleMania. Belair says her hair is an advantage, but it's also a disadvantage. She did use her hair to whip some sense into Becky, but only after Becky used her hair against her first. Belair goes on and says the real advantage is this. We no longer hear Becky running her mouth, and she's been quiet since she taught Becky a lesson with her hair. Well, that's also because she had a fractured voice box for the entire last week. Tonight she will use Piper Niven to give Lynch a preview of WrestleMania, and if Becky can't talk now, wait till she shuts her up for good at WrestleMania. You know, we're going into this WrestleMania match, and I just hope Becky wins just to end this shit. I don't care about this whole entire thing with Bianca Belair. She has gotten title shot after title shot after title shot after title shot. And yet she's the one going to WrestleMania? Why? Bianca Belair versus Piper Niven for the 67,877th time. I'm done with this. I don't want to see this match anymore. Belair wins. Match went about 5 minutes. That is all you need to see. Becky Lynch comes out from somewhere, attacks her ringside using a braid to bring her to the floor. Talks some trash, sends her into the steel steps, then face first into the announce table as fans boo. She sends Belair face first in a standing steel chair, then wraps the steel around her head, uses her hair to yank her into the chair, into the ring post. She talks some trash. We get to the replay, and she struts away while smiling. We see officials tending to Belair. I don't really care. This feud has been going on since SummerSlam, and quite honestly, I am over it. The sooner this is over, the better. Go back to the ring, and comes the tag team champions for what looks to be a celebration that apparently Randy Orton put together, but I think Randy Orton can do a better job than this. He says doing this math, WrestleMania will be his 18th. He thinks he'll be the best because he's never been tag team champions, but he's also never been a partner. He's never been tag team champions going to WrestleMania, but he's also never had a partner or a friend like this. He organizes his party and says he's not good as Riddle things Riddle's is. Riddle says it's the greatest night of his career, and Orton gifts him on the table concession stand, popcorn, bubble gum, and one more item. Says he goes with the gum and must be shared. It's a small green bag, and Orton says it looked high and low for it. Get it? Ha ha ha. Music interrupts, and out comes the Street Profits, Montez and Dawkins. They try to get an RK Bro chant going, and Riddle calls them into the party, saying he didn't realize they were invited. Ford says they didn't come to party, reminding RK Bro they recently pinned them, which was a botch, but because of how rough the splash happened with Randy Orton from Montez Ford, Orton wasn't able to kick out, and that's why they won. So WWE doing what they can to take what was not supposed to happen and spinning it into a WrestleMania match, but we'll get to that in a minute. They want a rematch for the titles. Orton says they can just win it. They can't just win a match and expect to be next in line. They had to jump through hoops. They had to win a fucking spelling bee to do this. So the answer is no. Dawkins says when it comes to the titles, they're not bros. Ford says he doesn't know if Orton understands them. The crowd interrupts with an RK Bro chant. Ford says RK Bro owes them a title shot. They're not past. They are way past asking for an opportunity. They're telling them they will be facing them at WrestleMania. Orton goes about how nobody, Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Vincent Kennedy, freaking McMahon, nobody tells me what to do in this swing, and neither will you. Gets in their face. Riddle gets in between both of them. Everyone says, break it up. Orton, they have a good point. And we gotta face somebody at WrestleMania. So he talks something off microphone. Orton comes back. You know what? You guys gotta be lucky that my homie here is cool. And he's going to listen to voice and says that, you know what, as far as I'm concerned, your WrestleMania challenge is accepted. Now, the Profits are fine with all that, and Ford says, you know, next time we're here in Duval, we'll show you how to party that doesn't seem so much like ass. And Riddle's like, don't you disrespect Randy Orton like that. You know what, I don't even want to wait till WrestleMania. I thought we were cool, dude. Dawkins like, whoa, you want a match with Tez? That's fine. And they end the segment with the whole RK Bro, good shit like that. So we have ourselves a singles match here. Montez Ford versus Tag Team Champion Matt Riddle. Now, they just made this match. It's kind of stupid that they just come in and ask for a title shot when Damian Priest had just beat the champion. And is probably going to get a title shot from that. It's kind of stupid that you do that. But this was a good match. This was probably the second best match of the night, minus the main event. If it wasn't for the finish, I would say it was probably one. It's still a good match. Really good match here. Montez Ford. I can see WWE. Vince McMahon is just backstage licking his chops, waiting to have that turn for Montez Ford to turn on Dawkins and become a heel. But you also need to get Bianca Belair to the spot where he's going to make her a heel, so you can have the power couple of Montez Ford and Bianca Belair as the heels running Monday Night Raw. As could beat Finn Balor for the U.S. Championship. Bianca Belair could be the Raw Women's Champion. Both of them are heels. Dawkins is off being the irrelevant babyface that you know he's going to be, because you do know when they do eventually break these guys up, Tez is going to get himself a run, while Dawkins will be forgotten and be given the Tucker Knight treatment. Change his look, go around, have him wear some kind of other gear, and then have him future endeavored a month later. Just saying. So this match is going all fine and good. We have ourselves a chance to have an RKO happen. It hits. Chad Gable attacks Dawkins. Orton gets attacked by Otis. Riddle comes out, but Otis attacks and launches him into the barrier. The referee calls for the DQ. Riddle wins. Alpha Academy hits double team moves on Dawkins in the middle of the ring. Otis with a second Vader bomb to Ford, followed by a moonsault, which is a beautiful double combination to get the Vader bomb into the moonsault. We see RK Bros and the Profits both laid out. So it looks like we're going to have a triple threat match at the pay-per-view at WrestleMania. And it's going to pretty much be what we got last week, except for instead of Owens and Seth Rollins, we're going to get Dawkins and Ford. So that was that. And then we get the video package for the Scott Hall tribute. Now, you could tell that Corey Graves, this hit Corey Graves and Byron Saxton harder than any other time I've seen them do tributes, because they both were doing everything they could not to cry on screen. It was very emotional. It was a great video package. I don't know who puts these things together again, but they need to be paid triple what they are paid, because they do a damn good job. This was great, and I gave my tribute at the beginning of this review. It sucks to see how things have happened, but everyone goes eventually. Scott Hall lived a hell of a life, and is going to be remembered for everything that he did, positive and negative, in this industry. Main event time, Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins. Kevin Owens comes out and they did the tribute. They cut the black screen, but immediately, instead of going to commercial, which would have been smart, they sent Kevin Owens out. And you could just see the emotion on Kevin's face that he was 1,000% in the back crying during that entire speech. Not speech, but video package. He comes out. You can just see he looks up. He just trying to, get the emotion of seeing that tribute to Scott Hall to go past so he can get his game face on for this match against Seth Rollins, his best friend, quote unquote. Seth comes out. Of course, the announcers plug 316 Day, which is in 2 days. Which, it's ironic because 2 years ago in 316 Day in 2020 was actually the first episode of Monday Night Raw after the shutdown, and they had to be in an empty performance center. Even though they advertised for 2 weeks prior and so on that Stone Cold was going to be at Raw on 316 Day, and it was so stupid back then. But yeah, he's going to be rolling out a new IPA, so everyone who wants to see that, and go deal with all that in 2 days. Kevin Patrick is backstage with Rollins. He is fired up and ready to go. Rollins says he was lost, but now he is found. He learned that not only does he need WrestleMania, but WrestleMania needs Seth freaking Rollins. He's about to punch his ticket right now. He goes to the ring. Back from break, and we see what Raw's Women's Champion Becky Lynch did to Bianca Belair earlier tonight. The announcers say Belair was taken to a local hospital. Did not say medical facility, so I wonder what's going on there. Says she is suffering from throat trauma, which is a play on what happened with Becky Lynch last weekend. We keep fans updated on conditions. We go back to ring, and Owens and Rollins are arguing. The bell rings, and they have themselves a pretty good 15-minute match. Yes, Kevin Owens came out to the ring at 10:30. The bell didn't ring until 10:44. Why? Just why? And it's not like Kevin Owens came out and then they did the video package to Scott Hall. No, they did the video package and then sent Kevin Owens out. Why they didn't just cut the commercial and then have Kevin Owens come out is beyond me. Give everybody a chance to have that moment of clarity. So, they have the match here. It was a pretty good match here. Owens goes up top for a swanton, but Rollins gets his knees up. Fans chant, "This is awesome." Owens explodes with a big clothesline. Yells at Rollins to get back up. Rollins blocks a stunner and rolls Owens up for a close 2 count, which almost looked like a 3, but the referee was knocked out of the ring. I thought, oh shit, we're going to get a ref bump here. Rollins is going to go for the pin. The ref's not going to be there, but the ref fell out of the ring, got right back in. 1, 2. He's arguing with the referee. Turns around, goes for a stomp, misses. Gets hit with the stunner. 1, 2, 3, and Kevin Owens is your winner. As the show fades to black, no Cody at all. It was funny because early in the night when Seth Rollins is being asked by Kevin Patrick, do you have any plans for WrestleMania? Clear Cody chants from the fans in Jacksonville. The AEW fans are all around. Can I expect Cody Rhodes here tonight? Yeah, kind of. I don't think the Scott Hall news made any difference about WWE's decision to do or not do anything with Cody Rhodes. I don't know what they're doing, what they're gonna do with Cody Rhodes. Is he actually coming in still? I don't know if he's coming in. I don't know what they're gonna be doing. Honestly, it feels like it's going to be you're gonna get an open challenge. You're gonna get an open challenge by Seth Rollins, and it's gonna be answered by Cody Rhodes. If that's not the case, then Cody Rhodes will either not be coming or is going to be going. I don't know what they're going to be doing. It's either he's going to be showing up tomorrow next week, do some kind of open challenge thing, or he's going to go WrestleMania, answer an open challenge there, or even so, he's going to go to the night after WrestleMania to make his debut. That is the only thing that we can deal with, that I can think of. So, that's all I can think of. So, yes. No Cody tonight. I'm not completely surprised. This is something WWE would do. WWE, Vince McMahon wants you talking. That's the thing. Now, with Cody Rhodes making his debut tonight, would have been perfect, absolutely, because it would have been WWE, who loves to stick anytime they can and another promotion. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I don't know what's gonna happen. The rest of the show was just meh. It is what it is. Video package, of course, is the highlight. This was a good show for Scott. Whoever that dumbass was on social media trying to say, let's all watch Raw for Scott. Let's all get it up to 2 million for Scott. Let's do one more for the bad guy. You're a piece of shit for using the death of Scott Hall to get clicks. You're a piece of shit. You need to go get your ass beat to within an inch of your life and left for dead. I'm sorry. Grow the fuck up and act like a fucking adult, you stupid idiot. Again, leave your comments below of what your tributes and everything about Scott Hall. Tonight's show, with or without the Scott Hall tribute, would have just been an average show. I feel bad for anybody who actually thought Cody Rhodes was coming. I'm not surprised. You shouldn't be surprised either. But hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. Find me on Minds at the France Club. Find me on twitch.tv/the France Club. And find me on Instagram at the France Club. And I will see you guys on Wednesday for AEW new St. Patty's Day Smash. Until then, my name is France, and I'll see you guys later.